Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. Hope the week is treating everyone well. My name's Sean, and sorry, I am tripping over my words today. I'm a director of client partnership here with Drupal Partners, and I'm joined by Satish. He is the CEO, and today we're going to
Hi
be talking
everyone.
about practical AEO implementation roadmaps for Drupal 10 and 11 sites.
All right. Give a
Oh, and
minute.
also, yes, before we kick off, I forgot to say that this is going to be recorded, and we will be sending that recording to everyone after the meeting. And stay tuned that there will be a special announcement at the end, offer that we have. And everyone will be muted for this throughout the duration of this. If you do have any questions at any time, please do not hesitate to put them in the chat, and we will address them once we notice the questions come up. Did I miss anything, Satish?
Now, I believe we are good to start. I'm also admitting the users parallelly. So yeah,
Okay,
right.
excellent. Okay, and then as before we jump into it, we also do want to let everyone know we have an important announcement. We are rebranding, and now we are Binary Works. So we're formerly known as Drupal Partners. So if you do see that, please be aware that in the future going forward, we will be Binary Works. Okay, and then the agenda for this call, we're going to be reviewing AEO. So to start, we're going to look at the introduction and why it is important. Then we're going to look at why AEO matters for Drupal 10 and 11 sites. We're also going to compare AEO versus traditional SEO. And then we're going to look at Drupal's compatibilities for AEO, look at the step-by-step AEO implementation roadmap, the tools and modules for AEO in Drupal that are available. We'll review some case studies and results. And finally, we'll start with how to get started, or we'll wrap up with how to get started with the AEO. And then one thing I want everyone to think about during this presentation is, and this webinar, think about search and how search has evolved along with the internet. Think about when the internet first launched, how were people searching? What websites were they using? What terms were they using? And then as technology evolved, how did search features evolve and how did those search engines evolve? And I want to start out with a little fun trivia. If everyone has the chat open, going to see in what year was Google first used as a verb in mainstream media? So if anyone wants to take a guess, what year was it that to Google was used as a verb in mainstream media? 2001 is close, not quite back that far. Jenny nailed it. It was 2003, Jenny and Bezart. And now, question for you, follow up, extra points, bonus points. Do you know what TV show, what US series did that occur in? So the year was 2003. What show used Google as a verb?
I have no idea, Sean.
And I guess it's okay. It was actually Buffy the
That's good.
Vampire Slayer, if we have any science fiction fans in the house.
Good one.
Okay, great. So let's jump into it and look at the introduction to AEO and its importance. Okay, so what is AEO? AEO, it's short for Answer Engine Optimization. It focuses on delivering direct, precise answers to AI-driven search queries. So how does it work? So it's leveraging structured data, it's featured snippets, and voice search optimization, and the goals of it. So it's to secure positions in voice search results, answer boxes, and AI-generated responses. Now, in the previous slide, I asked you to think about your previous search experiences. Back in the days of early internet, you used sites like Yahoo. I believe Netscape had some search engines, a search engine built in. So there are lots of different search engines that you could have used. And then there were different ways or terms that you would include within your search to add more search terms or filter out search terms. So it was very basic, rudimentary. You were using keywords. Then sites like Google evolved, where they started to allow long form searches, where you could actually search by questions. Ooh, that is a good one. So how is answer engine optimization different from generative engine optimization and AI SEO? Satish, do you want to tackle that
Yeah.
question?
So I can answer you that, Kellen. So AEO, it's common. Again, it's part of Gen AI. Um, it's more of all other things like even perplexity, and you take even the Google's responses, everything is included in that answer engine. The only difference is Gen AI is more of predicting things, but whereas answer engine is more of analyzing the data from this structured data, FAQs, and response more in a better way. In generative engine, you will see a lot of hallucination, which with the answer engines you don't see that. It replies based on the actual known facts with some kind of uh, history or some kind of deep analysis. It provides those response. Gen AI is more of just do prediction kind of things. The next question is Carolyn is here. Yeah, it is. That is the only thing that you can control. You can feed the answer engines in a much better way, where you have a control. In Gen AI, like again, in everything, if you look at it, everything is prediction, but here you have at least a control and you can guide the users on the responses that you can focus on. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, good question.
Okay, yes. Excellent question. And then, as I was saying, so think about how search has evolved. So search has gone from keywords to questions. So people are no longer using vague phrases. They're typing out long sentences, specific questions. In the past, you would just put in like, if you're using map data, you'd put in your start location and your destination location. Now the technology is improved where I'd go to my Google Assistant and be like, hey, Google, how long is it going to take if I leave at this time to get from my current location to this location? So the technology has evolved, the answers are evolving, and the engines that we show that information with are also evolving. So, as I used in my previous example, the rise of voice assistants. So, people are just using their assistant, answering a plain English question, and getting the results that they want from it. And because of this, people have zero patience. Users are expecting search engines to predict intent and not just deliver the results. And it's also coming across in a mobile first mindset. Search is happening on the go, which means that these results need to be concise, clear, and fast. Okay, and that's led a shift in the way people are searching. So 50% of users use AI chatbots to search to find information. 70% of Google queries are now long tail. 50% of Google searches end in zero-click results, so it could be just information finding. And 65% of voice searches are conversational. So we want our information thorough, fast, and relevant to the topic that we're looking for. So the existing AEO engines to optimize for, these are the common main players. So we have Google. So they look at the snippets. So people also ask SGE, Search Generative Experience. GPT is another one. So that'll ingest public data and plugins and integrations. Bard, the Google AI, it's pulling from Google's knowledge graph. And Microsoft Copilot, that's utilizing Bing Chat and AI answers. Then there's also Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant, those voice search interfaces that we'd referenced. Perplexity AI, U.com, which is AI-driven answer engines on the rise. And then there's also LinkedIn, Reddit, Quora, which is indexed Q&A platforms used by AI to fetch context. And then if you look at AEO versus traditional SEO, how has it changed? What's different? So the focus of it is different. SEO, people were looking at ranking for keywords. With AEO, do you want high quality and direct answers? SEO for their content style, it was keyword optimized. Whereas AEO, you're looking at their context, the structure of the data, and you want it to be concise. The formats also vary. So the format of SEO, it's long form blogs. AEO, the format that it's looking for is FAQs, how-tos, tables, schemas, so more structure within the data, not just the blog format. So how you structure your data is going to be important with those AEO optimizations. The channels are also different for them too. SEOs are using SERPs, and AEOs are using AI assistants and smart snippets. And their strategy is also different between the two. SEO, people were looking at their meta tags, the backlinks, page load speeds. On page SEO, the schema markup, all these different factors would combine in to affect a site's SEO. And then the AEO, what's affecting the ranking is the structure of that data, the EEAT, the schema, and the FAQ usage. And then with that, I'm going to turn it over to Satish, who's going to drive for the rest of the presentation and the webinar.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, good afternoon to everyone. So I just want to give a quick update like, hey, you guys have any questions, please ask those questions in the chat. So don't need to wait till the last. Just an housekeeping message. I should have said it in the beginning, but keep asking those questions every now and then to keep this meeting more conversational. All right. So the next topic that we would be covering is again why it matters with Drupal 10 and 11 sites, because now most of the sites with Drupal 7 ending its life in January, people have most of the sites have migrated to Drupal 10 and even 11. Some sites have been migrated. So it is important now you try to make your site more visible to the Google or the answer engine so that people can find your contents more useful. So some of the way that we see is you need to make the content more structured, and Drupal is one of the pretty good CMS platform that you can create this kind of structured contents for these answer engines. And there are lot many tools and modules available in the Drupal ecosystem that can help you in ranking your site or in the sense for better responses, the featured snippets can be easily fed to these answer engines. So there are some modules out there, and obviously Google has been built for SEO, which also the foundation for AEO, so built for the semantic web. And always the Drupal community evolves around the latest technologies. That's why I said with the basics of SEO, AEO sits on top of it. So Google is also trying to create those modules that support those standards. And most importantly, the informations are secure and it is enterprise scalable. All right. So let's talk about Drupal scalability for AEO. So obviously the content type, the most important thing for answer engines now, content types, creating Q&A or FAQ kind of formats is super easy with Drupal CMS systems. And Drupal from the beginning follows the taxonomy and metadata everywhere, which is also a critical factor for AEO. And you can also create views for each of your pages for FAQs alone. Dynamic views you can create with the FAQ contents that is again fed to the answer engines properly. And Drupal also adapted the headless format, which drives on JSON. So with that, you can, if you look at it, AEO, they need data through JSON LD format, which again is Drupal provides those things to through API. And the Drupal's content system, like the content creators, they can use the meta tag and schema modules from the layout builder itself. So again, Drupal supports that. So that's why it is easy to implement AEOs changes with Drupal much better. Let's talk through the step-by-step process for the AEO implementation. The first step, if you look at the AEO's implementation, is you need to audit your existing content and make sure to make them into a kind of an FAQ sections. And also on top of that, identify what are the AEO opportunities, which means what kind of questions people would be looking towards these kind of answer engines. Like for example, if you are in university, how to get funding or get an scholarships, or how to fill out my application, some kind of possible kind of questions people would be asking. Try to create contents around that and fed to the system. And whenever you're feeding, implement the structured data and optimize those contents properly. And you can also double check whether those contents are fed to these answer engines, and try to use the Drupal modules as much as possible. There are many open source modules that can help you in feeding this data to these answer engines, and you can monitor and optimize these contents. We have a question, I think. Are there some sort of webmaster tools to get access what questions people are actually asking about your content? There is no webmaster content, but there are some third-party tools that I will talk about, like also ask.com and many other tools out there in the market that can help you in identifying what kind of questions people ask around your content. So we will explain those tools in the coming slides. So the first one is auditing your content. So the first thing is review your current site, see how your data is structured, if there are any gaps in answering your common questions, those kind of things we need to identify. And also focus on the high traffic pages. That's where more informations people are looking for from your site. So try to create FAQs around those pages, or FAQs for those kind of content. So some of the tools that we generally use it for is Google Search Console to identify what kind of questions people ask in Google. And you can also use Screaming Frog, which will crawl your entire site and identify what are the pages the structured data content is missing out. More, you want all your websites to have this structured data content. That is going to be the basic element for these answer engines. So try to create the structured data and figure out what are the pages they don't have it. And we'll also use a tool called Sitebulb. It audits your structured data and ask if there is any opportunities that you can create more rich data, all these things. It can identify those opportunities on your site. So this is the audit checklist we generally go for. Are there schema markups available for all your pages, which includes FAQs, articles, or how to. So you need to verify. There's a Google's rich snippets tool is there, which you can again call the schema validator to test whether your pages are having these FAQs and schema structured data, and also see whether the internal links and the crawlability is proper on your site. And we also want this EAT called experience, expertise, authority, and trust, which is similar to the page authority that you used to have in the Google's era. Like, you need to have a better authority for your website. That is again an important thing, because to get listed on the Google's answer or whatever answer engine's top results, your pages should be having an authority. So try to get those um, backlinks or whatever you do to get those page score, uh, page authority to be improved. Do those same thing, and always make sure that your contents are crawlable and crawled by not only the Google crawler. Even these days, every um, answer engine systems have their own crawlers, so it is crawlable. And try to see whether those content and specific identify what would be the intents of the user and try to provide that. And also the same thing, if you're having H1, H2, H3 tags, try to have those things in the structured data also. It improves the Google's, I mean, the visibility, crawlability thing. And try to add an FAQ section or how to QA sections, mostly on at the bottom of each of the existing pages. The two even high traffic pages, try to add that. So again, those are important for these answer engines. So if you look at it, many of the sites started implementing those how to sections at the bottom of the pages for easy crawling or easy responses to these answer engines. And how to identify AEO opportunities. That's the most important thing. So basically, people who are looking for research-based keywords like how to do this, what is the best ones, those kind of research keywords, or you can also analyze your competitors. That is another way. You can find the featured snippets, and also you can also see on how and voice search, like if you are, somebody is using Google Siri to Siri to Apple Siri to find out the nearby restaurants, how they are using the voice search. Look into those things. If you use tools like Answer the Public, also asked, which can clearly tell you and questions that are very relevant to your topics, these tools can answer them. Definitely, that's a very effective tool. You can use them. We highly recommend for our clients to identify, enter any page. It will try to give what kind of possible questions, all these things. And we use SEMrush and keywordtool.io to identify what are the featured snippets used by your competitors and what kind of deep links they are getting from these AEO tools. So we can use this Rush and Answer the Public kind of tools to find the opportunities for your website, AEO opportunities for your website. And as I said earlier, some of the questions, AEO questions, people look at it. For example, educational sites could be like how to apply for a scholarship or what is the deadline. These kind of general questions, people can find it on your website, but people prefer to get it instantly. So they go to Google's answer engines or ChatGPT to ask these questions. Uh, Maybe in future you can also build your own chatbot system on your website so that instead of going to Google and ask these questions, people can even ask your chat engines in your website to respond. So that's another way, even for government and public sector, these kind of commonly asked questions, people will be asking in these answer engines. So try to create those kind of FAQs and how to kind of questions on these pages and feed these informations to all the crawlers that is coming to your site. And the next one is how to implement the structured data. So the first thing we would say is we need to rewrite in Google's SEO thing. It's more of keyword stuffing and providing more contents to those crawlers. That's what is more important for Google's SEO. But for if you look at the AEO, it's more of structured data. So we need to create structured like a snippet of each content blocks that is specific to any questions. That's how we need to rewrite that. Like you don't need to rewrite a lot of contents for the system to understand, write snippets, and that is very relevant to a specific questions. So create those kind of structured content blocks for your each page, and try to create all your future contents in the Q&A formats, or at least create those sections that I talked about. Create the Q&A questions at the bottom of the page, so it will be easier for these tools to uh, at least analyze and spit out the answer. So try to the other option is break down the long content into yes, easy snippet friendly formats that is easy for these tools to understand. So some of the tools we um, recommend is Surfer SEO, Fraz.io, or SEM has released the SEM Rush has released the content template for AEO friendly content. So try to use those tools to create the better contents for your pages. And even Drupal is trying to create the custom block layouts through its specific editor for creating the structured contents. All right, any questions? All right, I don't see any questions. So the other important aspect is the modules that I was talking about in the Wispig editor, Drupal modules. The schema meta tag module that adds automatically the schema.org markup for each pages. You don't need to worry about it, it is automatic. And similarly, the JSON LED schema, it takes the content and convert them into the JSON and shares those things through API. So this is again for headless pages. JSON LED schema takes care of it. And RDF UI takes care of the Drupal's native RDF support, and meta tags. The module that is there, it supports both SEO and AEO, and similarly JSON format that makes sure that your contents are AI optimized and shared through API to these engines. So configuring, if you look at this is the again a technical format, I would say this is how the FAQ page the content should be shared to these tools, like an FAQ page, like main entity, like what kind of question, like how to install Drupal 11 and answer. This is how the if you look at the structured data format will look like. This is how you need to share these these to these answer engines. You don't need to worry about all these things if you can install the meta tag modules, meta schema modules, all these things. If you install it properly, the system itself will automatically create these schema markup for you and share those things to these tools. All right. On the step 4 that we talk about is definitely whatever we spoke till now is how to identify and how to feed the questions to these answer engines. And the most important thing is always find right kind of questions and right kind of content to these questions. So try to create some concise, like don't write a lot as you write for SEO. Try to be very short and concise, like 50 to 100 words is maximum you can think about and answering a question. So write those things. Try to add those headings on your each page, bullet points, or again, more welcome for these answer engines, and place answers on your page. So that's again rewriting your website. And some of the best practices is try to add those things in the first paragraph, like kind of an answers for questions answer on the first paragraph itself. Make it more conversational. uh, if it is not very technical thing, not targeting technical user, avoid jargons. Try to be more simple and try to make it more relevant for your users coming to the looking for answers on the answer engines. As I said, create more FAQ pages. This is the most important thing. There are tools out there, simple FAQ field. Those modules are out there. Try to create those kind of FAQ sections on your web pages, or at least create views for these FAQs. And once the views are created, you can add schema markups and schema meta tags for your website. Similarly, create how-to pages and everything for a site. Similar to that, FAQ, you can create these how-to pages. You can create multilingual how-to pages also. That again, these tools can understand it and index them properly. These are the other modules that I'm talking about for that is supporting the Drupal for AEO. The first one is the paragraph section. If you look at it, the paragraphs module that has been creating these kind of content blocks for AEO and QA sections, you can easily add that with the paragraphs module. As I said, views can be used to create these kind of FAQs, how-to modules on your website. Path auto, it's an again and um, it is used to create the automatic URLs for these views and other pages that are easily crawlable by AEO. And the meta tag plus schema.org module that you will have a complete control on the meta tags and titles for AEO. Automatically it will create those content, but if you want it, you can also edit them. So you have a complete control of that. For headless Drupal sites, some of the models that we see is JSON. So all your meta titles, structured data can be shared through JSON automatically for Drupal headless Drupal sites. Schema.org blueprints. It's again a tool that shows you how you can reuse the modules in a much easier way. You can use the schema markups and simply structure data. You can manually add those structured data on each of the pages if you want. That's a module that is used. And Yoast SEO is again, right now it started providing support to AEO contents also. Let me see, there are two more questions being asked. There's some sort of webmaster now, I think. Yeah, the question is, what is the best practice for a FAQ page? How many per page content related? How many FAQs can be possible for each page? It truly depends upon the content that you're talking about. So basically, what kind of possible questions a user can ask, you can ask those questions, add those questions. There is no limitations to those FAQs. The best practice is you have to follow the structured content format. So as I showed in the snippet where the FAQ should have a question tag and answer tag. If you can share those things to the answer engines, that is the recommended one. Other than that, there is no best practice we need. And the next question is, our Drupal developers keep suggesting single page for FAQs linked to the other pages. This seems to be the contrary to the SEO best practices. Uh, there is no need for that. You can have multiple FAQ pages because the answer engines can link those pages automatically. So you can have multiple FAQ pages and these tools can understand that, link those data and understand those things properly. So there is no need to be a single FAQ page. Um, so yeah, you can, if you start looking now, many sites, if you the bottom of the pages are adding the FAQ sections. So you can have add the FAQ sections on bottom of each page and also have one common page, but there is no need for one single FAQ pages. Um, yeah, good questions. So the other important thing is how to monitor and iterate your AEO rankings. So there is no direct AEO responses so far on the market right now available to measure its success, but there are some tools like this SEMrush, Google Search Console, all these things can give an idea how you are performing, how many zero-click search results you are coming up. So all these things give an idea, but there is no direct correlations like how you do in SEO, like how many people clicked on your site and they converted as a customer. Those kind of direct connections are not available, at least till now. But in future there might be tools, but there are no tools right now that gives direct results. Some of the KPIs we look for is impressions and click-through rates from the featured snippets or rich results. So which you can track from these tools like Google Search Console or SEMrush. You can see how many people are clicking on the rich snippets for you. And also you can see people also ask visibility, like it's basically for how many questions you are dominating on Google search, I mean the AEO search engines. um, you can literally see how many questions you are getting at the top, so you can find those things through also ask.com or Ahref or SEMrush. For how many questions your responses are coming, you can measure that. And similarly, featured snippet ownership, basically, that's the important thing now. How many search queries your featured snippets are appearing. You can see that in SEMrush and SEOtesting.com. You can see your feature snippets tracking. And also in the SEO, your search engine rankings, you can see how many zero-click traffics you are seeing, how many drops in bounce rate. All these things you tells people are getting the information from these answer engines. They're not coming to your site. So that's another way of looking at it. And voice search visibility is an hard to track, but you can see if somebody is using Siri and asking some of the questions about your products or your services, you can see whether you're coming up at the top. But this is a very manual testing process. And you can also see how many non-branded queries you are coming up through Google Search Console only. And you can also see how your customers are using your site more compared to the previous time before implementing the AEOs. If the FAQ section specifically, you can see those things, see whether there is any changes in the user behavior. So as I said earlier, there is no direct way of measuring AEO success. These are some indirect ways to see how you can see how your AEO is performing. But definitely there will be a business impact. So if you are starting to get the feature snippet visibility, there will be a 40 to 70% increase in the way that your contents are being shared. There will be a 40 to 70% increase in the way customer acquisition or conversions will be improved. Similarly, 30% uplift on the click-through rate with these kind of for the keywords or schemas that you implement those pages, you will see a 30% uplift. And obviously, since you are solving most of your customer questions through these answer engines, our hope is to get reduced cost per acquisition now rather than you are doing it earlier. And since you are solving customers' problem, your customer support questions or customer support time will be reduced with this approach, and there'll be an improvement in conversions. And you'll be available in your responses will be available in wider platforms like ChatGPT, Bard, Siri. Again, it also improves your branding also overall. So, so the tools that we recommend is for content discovery, use Answer the Public, also asked for performance monitoring. For the next one is structured data creation. For that, use schema.org and Google Search rich results test to identify the structured data content. And the third one is the performance monitoring tools through this Google Search Console or SEMrush tools. As I said, Drupal has some built-in functionalities through paragraphs, and schema meta tags that can feed the data to these kind of answer engines much easily now. Right, any questions? I could see one more question. Would there be a perceived drop in visitor traffic if your AU rises? Yes, there will be a drop in the organic traffic. That is going to be inevitable. People are going to go towards these kind of AEO. So they are going to adapt more of answer engines responses more and more. So there will be a drop in organic traffic. But again, the goal of you is to convert more customers, solve their problems for you. So if you are solving those problems for your customers, they're obviously going to come to you as a customer by some means. So that's the goal of this AEO activity. Um, so there'll be a drop in traffic on your sites moving forward. So the other one is the developer tips for AEO, like use Composer module that can take care of this structured data creation, and automatically you can create those with the modules available from Drupal, and use AI crawlers to see how your site is performing. And you can use Drush module for AU related task. Drush has the automated tools for creating the schema markups. So that's a developer tips for AU. So some of the common mistakes we need to avoid for AEO is that keyword stuffing that we follow for AEO is not going to work out anymore. So try to be more like an question and answer kind of things. Try to be more concise. That's the future. And you need to the structured data is going to be not equal to no feature snippets. So try to create structured data. You cannot skip structured data anymore. So that is important now. So you cannot skip that. In past, it can be skipped. Now you cannot skip it. Uh, Try to create more concise content. Don't write long content, as I said earlier, and try to be more mobile first approach, which is more relevant now, and be voice first optimization kind of technique you need to do. And schema validation was overlooked for a very long time, but it is more relevant now. So try to audit your site for the schema markups and structured data contents. So the conclusion is the future is going to be AEO. AI-driven searches will dominate in 2030. So Drupal has already provided JSON and APIs, JSON LD, all these formats to support the AEO. Try to use that, and try to build AI chatbots for your site. Even we provide a tool called RoundView that supports AI chatbots. So roundview.ai. You can build your own chatbots for your customers, and or virtual assistants for your customers, and focus on answering real-time problems for your customers. As I said, there are tools like Ask the Public, also ask.com can give you what kind of questions people are asking about your products or services. And finally, to get started, we would be happy to do an audit for your site. Uh, you can also test your sites across main pages, how your schema markup is there, how your site is performing on the Google's rich results test, all these things. So for customers who are coming to, or anybody who's looking to do an audit, we provide a free audit. So this is the free audit tool. I'm sorry, I mistakenly marked it wrongly. Um, Let me give you guys the free audit tool. So, so this is the free audit tool link that shared it in the chat for everyone. Please use that free audit. AAU audit will do a one-to-one personalized audit for your site and give some recommendations how you can make your site more answer engine friendly. So we'd be happy to help you with that. And so we hope everybody got some message from this webinar. Uh, any other questions for us? Let me see. Yeah, there is a question. Will you share the slides to everyone? Yes, we'll be sharing this recorded webinar and also the slides to you guys tomorrow. But in case in future, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask those questions to me, or this is my email address, satish@drupalpartners.com, or you can send it to your friends at drupalpartners.com. So thanks for your time, and we hope to see you in another session. Thanks for joining in.